What's up, DIY Nation, and welcome back. We're back in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, trying to wrap up the stair job, and today we're shopping for risers.
Hey Kaylee, is that the plywood you got?
Yeah, we got this plywood, and Z thought this would be enough plywood to do all of our risers.
That's because we only have 13, but we actually have 14.
We have 15 that we need.
So let's go take this other stuff. All right, so over there, a whole sheet of this is $48, but like 1/4 of a sheet is that much. This was another option, but you would get 2 or 3 out of that. We just need one, so we didn't feel like we wanted to pay that much just for one. So what's our other option? So since you guys were with me the other day when I said I wanted to make that last step on the bottom, I may have to cut a little bit off the tread and use a thinner riser. This is perfect, $16.48. And not only is it already primed white, but if you're doing oak, you turn it over and it's a 2-in-1, see? All right, that's our winner. We found it.
So guys, we ended up going with the 1/2-inch sanded plywood. It was around $42 for the whole sheet. So what I decided was if I cut these about 8 inches and just take the thickness of the blade into account, I'll probably get somewhere around 7 7/8, 7 15/16. And since I only need 7 3/4, I think that's going to do me just fine. I'm going to be running these through my table saw to get an accurate cut, but to make it easier, I figured if I cut them in half at 48 inches, it'd be a whole lot easier to handle through the table saw. And if I'm being honest, I found some 1/2-inch MDF in my shed. I probably could have cut all of them out of that. Well, live and learn. Anyway, I'm going to get these things marked up and cut, and I'll get right back with you. Okay guys, so the top step of the landing is actually going to be a tread. Speaking with our customer, she did not want us to do the norm, which was to floor the landing and then put a stair nose. And I have to agree, if we used a stair nose, it probably wouldn't match. So using treads was a great idea. Besides, it helped out with our height in trying to get 7 3/4 all the way up the stairs. This piece of trim used to come down and sit on top of the carpet, but since we are adding 1 inch of floor, it needs to sit on our floor. So therefore, I'm using my oscillating tool to make sure I get it cut flush with the top of my landing. I really do like this tool for situations like this. It helps to get almost a perfect accuracy so you can check it on the sides and in the middle. Once it's tightened down, you can see I have 6 3/4. And once I put my 1-inch tread on the landing, that'll be 7 3/4. Now that I know the height of my riser, it's time to get the width. I'm gonna go ahead and cut this a little bit long. That way I can dial it in and get it back. Yeah, I'll go 36 1/8. So I'm back for my test fit. I'm gonna put it in like this. Now you almost can't see that drywall. I think a little caulk in there will work. Put that here. It's a little tight, so I'm gonna bend it, squeeze it in there. There's a little nail there, that's from before, but that's pretty flush there. That's pretty flush right there. Wow, can't ask for more. That's gonna look really nice, guys. I think it's time to glue that and nail that. What do you think? Okay guys, so now I'm going to try to figure out this first tread that we're using as flooring here, where it's going to go here. Now I have go ahead and undercut all this all the way as far as it would go all the way over to here. There's a little notch around where it goes up against this riser. I believe even if I was to cut it right up next to the stud up there that I chewed away, I'd be fine because the riser over here would cover everything going that way. But I am going to try to notch it a little bit. That way it does slide around and my
risers have something solid to sit on. Does that make sense? Okay, so let me figure that out. Looks like I got about 37 inches right here. So I'm gonna try to use this thing. I've never used it before for something like this. I mean, that nose needs to go about like right there, huh? I'll tell you what, man, that's not really much of a notch at all. It's a little bit squirrely right through there, but other than that, yeah, I think we'll be fine. I mean, if that's my, right there, if that's my 37, and it wasn't 37, and yeah, 37, if that's my 37, I'll just cut it 37 square right now, and we'll try to see if we can't slip that thing in and then notch it as needed to be. All right, 37 it is. Remember, make sure your razor knife is sharp. You want to dig down into the skin right here. Make sure you got a strong grip here. I mean, unless you can even clamp that down if you want to, because if you don't, I mean, if it slips, you're in trouble. But I mean, I've been doing this for quite a while, so I've already did all the slipping I want to do. Okay, now with that being said, see, now you have a good clean laser cut line so that you can cut it over here. Now I'm going to use a fence on this one because I'm cutting it square, but if you do have to cut them out of square, I suggest you can put tape on it, but definitely cutting the skin like that helps it to not chip back on the next piece, on your piece that you're using. No chips. Alright, so I got this side over here to fit in, and I'm just going to notch this one right here. And to know how much we're going to notch it over, it's about 7/8 past this riser here. So we want to go about like right there, which is, I'll start with 1.25 inches, and then if I have to take more away, I will. Also, I believe with the notch, it'll be a whole lot easier to get in there. Really tricky. Looks good. All right, guys, so I got this first step on the landing in, and I'm gonna check and see. I got it dialed in how I want it over there, real tight and pretty tight over here against this. I did leave about 1/8 of an inch gap over here just because it was rubbing tight, and I, you know, expansion and contraction, I don't want no issues. Over here, I will glue this, and I'll also glue my risers on the back up against it, just because when people are stepping, sometimes those risers will rub up against the side and it will make a squeak, and it is very annoying, so we don't want that. Other than that, I think we're good to go over here for our next riser to land on top of this. So I'm going to check and see how good this looks across the front here with my little notch. So I'm going to go right there and tighten that thing down. All right, let's see. That looks pretty good. Let's check the other side. Look at that. I'll take it, guys. Glue it and nail it. All right, guys, so we got our first step on the landing dialed in. We got it from side to side. We got our little expansion gap. Now, we had talked about many ways to put these in, because in the past we've just put flooring on these landings like this right here and then just capped it with a stair nose. However, this customer said, no, can't you just make it like one big piece of wood? That's what they did at my other house. I was like, I'm pretty sure they did hardwood flooring, ma'am. I've never heard of that. And then she sent me a picture. I was like, oh.
I guess they have done that before.
So that's what we're going to try to do. However, I realized that if I was to try to take these, it's going to probably take 4 treads glued and nailed together to make it across here. And I thought, if I tried to glue that whole thing together, well, you guys saw how hard it was just to get it up underneath this thing right here. and over there with the notch with just one. Can you imagine me trying to handle this 1-inch thick tread as big as this landing? So I decided, why don't I just treat this like I'm doing hardwood flooring? And in hardwood flooring, sometimes when you have to snap a line, when you have your little groove and you want to turn your boards, you have to put a spline in there. Now they make spline, but one trick an old timer taught me was using these right here. These are 5/16 wooden dowels. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my table saw and rip grooves on the edge right here on all 4 pieces, and I'm going to start with making sure I do one at a time, starting from the bottom against the fence so I don't scratch up my face here. And then by doing that, I'll dial it in until these things slip right in there, and then I should be able to glue them together and then them not come separated from top to bottom. You see what I'm saying? All right, so that's the plan. I'm going to go outside and set up the table saw and figure out which treads I want to use to make this floor. All right, guys, hang tight. Let's go. Okay guys, so these 3 right here, they're gonna have to have the nose cut off of them because I need them to be square when I glue them together. Does that make sense? All right, sending all 3 through. Pretty centered, so I'm going to go with that, whatever that is. That's where our dowel's going. All right, let's go check it out. All right, guys, I got my little station set up here, and we are ready to rock and roll.
To make sure that the dowel is placed in the exact same location on every tread, I wanted to make sure I sent them through one at a time before I changed the position of the blade. That way I can have a consistent groove all the way on each one.
All right guys, so this is what it's supposed to look like when it's together. I'm gonna have it flush on here. That's where I just got a little bit more going up underneath that riser for support. It should come right down about right there. But anyway, this is the wooden dowel, and you'll slip it in these grooves just like this right here. Of course, I'll probably have to clean that out a little bit, but you can see it fits in there, and it looks just like the tongue of a tongue and groove floor. So that's what would happen right there. Once we glue it, clamp it, it'll keep it flush on the top. You can see it has no way to wiggle, so that's the route we're going to go. And Kelly wanted to glue these last 3 together first, and then maybe try to slip it in as one. I may try to do that. I'm going to experiment and see how that works in there with this one in. And if so, we'll go ahead and glue these together and put the dowels in between and let it dry. All right, guys, moving on.
I took some rolled up sandpaper and I sanded in between each one of the grooves. That way I don't have any dust or debris to interfere with my glue setup.
All right, guys, so we got the landing glued together, at least the 3 pieces, and then I guess we'll glue this last one in once we get this one installed and those are dry. I do want to show you guys something right quick. When I take this and put it down here, I mean, this is not even a full length board, you see what I'm saying? But you see the gap right there? So if I was to put all my risers on first, that's what I'm afraid of, because you know, once the riser's on there and you got to shove this tread in there, you got to make sure this riser is straight as can be, or else you're going to have gaps and you're going to fill it with caulk, and that's not something I'm wanting to do. So that's why I figured when I put my tread down first, I know my risers are straight because I cut them with a table saw. If they sit right down on top of that, this is 1 inch thick. If you think you can step on that and bend that and create some kind of a gap, you got to be pretty heavy duty, especially spanning 36 inches here. So that's why I like to put my treads in first and then slap the risers on top. It does form a problem later on if you have to fix something where you have to pull a riser out, like it's squeaking or something like that. But my suggestion is, don't build it where it squeaks. Don't build it where you have to pull it out and fix something. Do it right the first time, right? All right, moving on.
What's up, you guys? Welcome back. All right, so we are here at the landing and we're about to drop this first piece in. Now remember, we glued the back 3 together and it is like one big solid board. Now the front one, we could not glue to that, and the reason for that was this thing right here. There was no way I was going to be able to put 4 planks together and be able to slide this under, go around it, and then go back around on the other side. So I had to do the first one by itself, but we're going to be able to wood glue it together, and I'm also using the PL3X. We'll shim it on the back there, make sure we get it tight, and hopefully once we put the wood putty in it and then with one more coat of stain for the final when we're walking down. As we're coming down at the end, that's probably the last thing we'll do, and then we're going to take off and do the rest of these steps. So if you guys are doing something like that, or you just want to hang out and watch me, then hang tight. We're fixing to get busy. Let's roll. Now the last time we put these treads in, it was really tight. So I'm just globbing a bunch of glue up towards the front, and that's because I know that I'm going to be sliding it forward, and when I do is all the glue is just going to smear to the back. Alright, here we go, so let's give it a try. First thing we have to do is, and this was tricky anyway, so it's got to go under here, and then it's got to go in at an angle. Oh, that was nice. Most of my glue is probably still on there. Oh, are you getting this? Look outside. Most of my glue is still on there. Look at that, it slid right in place. Beautiful. Now it should go right up to that because I have a line back here that I made so that I know where it is when it's right.
Yeah, you gotta come out on this side. You want a mallet?
Nope, I got it right there. Yeah, that's it. Now, nail it down.
Are you gonna nail it down with 2-inch nails? Or?
I am going to nail it down with 2-inch nails, and I've already changed my nails out. I'm going to stand on it to squeeze that glue down real nice and flat. Alright, I think I'm going to throw one right here in the middle where this stud is, and then let's see, do I have another one over here? I have one right here. And then I'll just let the glue take care of the rest. Those we can putty, and they'll look beautiful. Alright, now we need to try to get this other big, giant, long cutting board that we built.
Alright, I'm letting go. So how is that, like, what is that stuck to? It's gonna make it crank the floor. I don't understand. It just looks like it's sitting on top of the floor right now.
Okay, so let's back up.
Oh, it's got the hook under it then?
Alright, see this thing right here?
Oh, okay. I see. I didn't know
Flips
that was
over
like
thing
that.
like that.
All right, cool.
And then it's just basically like a big giant jack.
All right, so here's the crack, guys. We're trying to close it.
I'll just put this wood here to protect the baseboard and also some cardboard down to protect the floor. But you can see that we're squeezing that glue out. Nice.
All right, hold tight for a second. Let me grab a wipe.
So that's perfect right there.
Once I got all the treads in and tight, I shimmed them at the baseboard and then I nailed the perimeter. This thing is going nowhere.
I do have some 1-inch out there. I probably should burn those up because going in a 1/2 inch would probably be fine. But also I'll switch over to 2-inch when I'm nailing the treads. Make sure you remember though, because you don't want to be nailing your treads with these 1.25 nails. You only get a 1/4 inch down into the wood. Yeah, the glue's gonna hold it, but still, I'd rather have the 2-inch. So here we go. Feeling good.
Well guys, I had a great time today. I hope you enjoyed today's presentation. We still have the rest of these steps to install and I still have to tackle that top step. There's no stair nose up there, so I'm gonna have to install one and wrap the carpet around myself. You're not gonna wanna miss that, so make sure you hit that subscribe button. Hey, and if you enjoyed today's presentation, help us out by dropping a like. That's gonna do it for me on this one, guys, and I hope to see you on the next one. Until then, take care and stay safe. Peace.